I am 73 years old. I live in a facility where the hallway smells of lemon disinfectant and quiet. I have watched the end come for more people than I care to count. I was in the chair next to the bed. I watched the chest rise and fall until it stopped. I heard the last breaths. Some sounded like relief. Some sounded like a struggle. And I can tell you exactly who slips away gently and who fights until the very last second. It is not who you think it is. I am going to tell you the 5 truths that separated the peaceful ones from the ones who died angry. And number 3 still haunts my dreams. It started with my husband. He was a big man, loud, full of life. He built houses for 40 years. He thought he was invincible. When the sickness came, he was terrified. Not of the pain. He was tough enough for the pain. He was terrified of being forgotten. In his last week, he stared at the door. He kept asking, "Is anyone coming?" People came, his kids, his friends, but he didn't feel them. He felt invisible. He died gripping the railing, eyes open, fighting a ghost. That broke something in me. I realized I did not want to go like that. So I moved here, not because I had to, because I wanted to see. I wanted to understand what makes a good ending. For 5 years, I have sat in these rooms. I have held hands that were cold. I have listened to whispers. About 2 years in, I saw a pattern that changed everything. There was a woman named Helen. She had everything. Rich kids, big house, photos everywhere. But her kids visited on screens. They called from cars. They sent flowers. When she died, she was alone in the room. The screen was dark. She died confused, reaching for a hand that wasn't there. But down the hall, there was a man named James. He had nothing, no family, no money, but the staff knew his name. The lady at the front desk knew his coffee order. He died smiling, holding the hand of a nurse who had worked there for 10 years. Same building, same care, 2 completely different exits. I sat in the common room afterwards and I thought, what is the difference? Now let me tell you what these walls have taught me. I want you to listen because this is 5 years of silence compressed into a few minutes. The first truth: the ones who died peaceful were the ones who were truly known. I do not mean famous, I mean seen. There was a woman, let's call her Sarah. She was quiet, never complained, but she remembered everyone's birthday. She asked the nurses about their kids. She listened. When she got sick, the whole wing showed up. Not because they had to, because they wanted to. She died surrounded by people who knew her middle name, her favorite song, her story. That is what being known looks like at the end. It is not about popularity. It is about connection. It is so you do not leave as a stranger in a strange bed. The second truth: the ones who went calmly understood the weight of touch. We live in a time of screens. We talk through glass. We send messages. But dying is physical. The ones who panicked, they were often the ones who had stopped touching people years ago. No hugs, no handshakes, just waves. I sat with a man who had not hugged his son in a decade. They talked on the phone every week, but when the end came, the son did not know how to hold him. It was awkward, stiff. The father died tense. But another woman, she held her granddaughter's hand for 3 days. No talking, just skin on skin. That warmth traveled up her arm. She closed her eyes and let go. Touch is a language you cannot speak through a device. If you stop speaking it, you forget how to say goodbye. The third truth. This is the one I told you about, the one that keeps me up. The ones who struggled the most were the ones clutching their things, not just money, stuff, boxes in the attic, collections, photos they never showed. They treated their possessions like armor. There was a man who spent his last days worrying about who would get his watch. He was fading, barely breathing, but he whispered about the watch. He could not let go of the object because he thought the object was him. They had given things away while they were still here. They gave the china to the daughter. They gave the tools to the neighbor. They lightened the load. When death came, their hands were empty, and because their hands were empty, they could reach for something else, something invisible. Do not wait for others to sort through your boxes. Do it now. Die light. The fourth truth. The ones who were afraid had secrets they took to the grave. I do not mean crimes, I mean truths. Apologies they never said, love they never admitted, gratitude they kept inside. There was a woman who hated her sister for 40 years, over something small, a dress, a comment. She never said she was sorry. She never said she missed her. In the end, she tried to speak, but the words were stuck. She died with her mouth open, trying to push the air out. The ones who slept well were the ones who cleaned the slate. They made the call. They sent the letter. They said, I was wrong. They said, I love you. They did not leave words in their throat, because you cannot speak when the light goes out. Say it now. The fifth truth. And this is the one that changed how I live every day. The ones who went the most peacefully had someone who would speak for them. Not a lawyer, a witness, someone who knew what they wanted. When the machines beeped, when the doctors asked questions, there was someone there who said, she would want this, or he would want to go home. The ones who died scared were often the ones who never told anyone what mattered. They left their wishes in a drawer, so strangers decided for them. The peaceful ones had a voice outside their own body. They trusted someone with their truth. That is the ultimate act of love, to trust someone with your end. I am almost done, but this last part matters most. I have a small journal, blue cover, worn edges. I have had it for 5 years. In it are names, every person I sat with, and next to each name I wrote how they left. Peaceful, angry, alone, surrounded. That is it, one word. And I think about my own name sometimes. I think about what someone will write next to mine when my turn comes. I will tell you what I focus on now. I do not focus on living longer. I focus on living clearer. I pray that when my time comes, my hands are empty of stuff, but full of touch. I pray that nobody has to guess what I wanted. I pray that I told the people who matter that they matter. That is all. You still have time to decide your word. You know the word someone writes next to your name. Peaceful, angry, alone, surrounded. You get to choose that, but not at the end. You choose it by how you live today. So tonight, before you sleep, do one thing. Pick up something you were planning to give away. Give it. Or pick up the phone and tell someone you love them. Not later, now. That is how you start choosing your word. Do not wait for the hallway to smell like disinfectant. Do not wait for the chair next to the bed. Choose your word now, because the only thing you take with you is how you made people feel. Make it count. Make it peaceful. Make it yours.